What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? So, this is a very interesting video because I got to sit back and I was looking at a bunch of different things today. And a lot of things were going through my mind. And I got to be honest, I got to take a step back and I just got to laugh at the Tennessee Titans organization here for a second. Listen, I'm going to explain why I'm giggling about the Tennessee Titans organization, but one thing's for certain, okay? For you Colts fans, I know you're going to enjoy this video because whether I'm right or wrong about this is definitely something to pique your interest. And now, for you Tennessee Titans fans that potentially might want to come after me after this video, just know I'm not taking a shot at you. As a matter of fact, I'm doing you a service. I'm talking about your organization in ways that some people might not quite understand or may not quite be getting just yet. But you might get a little bit of an understanding of what I'm talking about after this video. See, here's the thing. I had to put my detective cap on. Okay. And I was thinking the other day, what separates the Colts and the Titans in the division right now? Clearly, these two teams have been going back and forth with each other for the last few seasons, trying to win the division every single year. Colts always say they're going to get the division back. Titans always seem to win it there and there. Well, I've kind of took a step back and I took a look at some of the things that have been going on throughout the Tennessee Titans offseason. And I just kind of wanted to think, maybe some of the stuff that's going on, there might be some more to it than what some Tennessee Titans fans really understand. And again, if you're a Tennessee Titans fan, you can feel free to come to me and tell me where you think I'm wrong. Tell me where you think I might be right. Tell me some things that I may not know because I don't necessarily follow the Tennessee Titans that much. And this will probably be the last time I make a Tennessee Titans video, besides the fact when we actually have to go play them. So again, not trying to be, putting it in my head or anything. No, it's the only time I'll ever talk about the Tennessee Titans unless we are actually going at them in a game. Okay, so here's the thing. I know this one doesn't really mean a whole lot to some people, but there have been some Tennessee Titans fans that have been saying, where's Derrick Henry? We haven't really been hearing him talk much, haven't heard much about him, things of that nature. Again, people are always saying, we see a lot of workout videos in the off season of Derrick Henry and all this stuff. It's interesting because we just really haven't seen or heard a lot about Derrick Henry over this offseason. Now, again, he may just be, taking it easy over this offseason because he was dealing with injuries for a lot of the time during the season. So maybe that is a thing. Maybe not. And maybe he just wanted to take a break from, being the social media hype guy from workout videos on there and, just wanted to do a little bit more of his own thing. Maybe. You guys can let me know about that. But here's the thing. So this is where it starts to get a little interesting. We saw in the NFL draft, the Tennessee Titans trade away A.J. Brown for a first rounder and a third rounder to the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, so I kind of want to talk about that for a few seconds because there's a few details that might slip some people's minds. Okay, so first step in having a organization crumble before your eyes is when head coaches, other coaches, and the front office are not in sync with each other. Okay. Now, the Colts, Frank Reich, again, may have differing opinions on Carson Wentz than what guys like Jim Irsay and Chris Ballard did. But at the end of the day, they all understood that getting rid of Carson Wentz was the best thing for this team. It had to be done in order to be able to move on. And they felt it was the best thing to do, even if Frank Reich potentially had a few better feelings about Carson than Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay. Here's the thing. I think it's fair to say that the Tennessee Titans head coach, Mike Vrabel, did not agree with the front office on how to handle the A.J. Brown situation. Okay, Mike Vrabel stated back in March when asked if A.J. Brown would be on the trade block. And he stated And I quote, not as long as I'm the head coach. Well, does that mean you're not going to be the head coach for much longer? Uh does that mean that, the front office doesn't value your opinion on players as much? Again, I don't think he's going to not be the head coach after a while. I'm just saying that, it seems odd that your head coach would go out on a whim to say that about him. And then, sure enough, a month later, the front office is like, yeah, no, we don't care. We're trading this guy anyway. And then we obviously saw on draft day when he was traded, Vrabel was caught on camera, looked visibly upset, looked like he wanted to rush out of the draft room because of that. Now, again, there could be a couple different circumstances we don't know about, but from what it looked like is when that trade went down and when that move was made, I mean, that was Vrabel's guy. That was Tennessee's guy. And Tennessee's front office knew what they were getting themselves into when they did that. Obviously, most of the Tennessee fans were not happy. Most of the Tennessee players were not happy. And obviously, Mike Vrabel was not happy about it. I mean, we just look at what A.J. Brown said. And again, I do not believe Mike Vrabel when he says that he and the front office are in a good place with when that move was made. I don't believe that. I don't believe it for a split second. He could say that to appeal to the bosses and say what he wants. But I know for a fact he was not happy that A.J. Brown got traded out. I know that. And so it appears they're not on the same page because A.J. Brown, shortly after, meeting with the front office during like a few weeks before the draft, was asking for a new contract. And obviously he just finished his third year in the NFL and was still on his rookie deal. He had one more year left on that rookie deal before he would get anything else. And I think that was what the front office could have used to get A.J. Brown to understand. They just didn't want to commit to a long-term deal at that moment in time. Obviously, A.J. Brown went out and said that they called him a diva. He keeps getting called a diva for wanting all this money and wanting what's best for him. I'll just say this before I go any further. If Christian Kirk's getting $21 million, A.J. Brown deserved $21 to $22 million. What he was asking for. That was what he was asking for. The Titans, he stated that the Titans' offer was $16 million. $16 million a year for a top 15 wide receiver in the league? I mean, A.J. Brown is one of the best receivers in the league. I know some people say, oh, well, occasionally he gets hurt. He misses some games throughout the year. Yes, but when he plays, and again, he plays the majority of the time, he is dynamite. He is the best player on that Tennessee team. And they traded away their best wide receiver that the franchise has ever had. And for what? For not wanting to pay him over $20 million a year? What other wide receiver at his caliber is not getting paid $20 million a year? And again, I don't see any reason for A.J. Brown to lie about this. He's still under his rookie contract. I don't see any reason for him lying about being called a diva or them mistreating him. I mean, he did say, this is not my fault. If the Titans had done better with this, then I would have stayed. Because it seemed like he didn't want to leave. And again, if they didn't want to pay him this year, why couldn't they have just stated, hey, listen, we appreciate it. We really do want you back, and we will definitely get you a contract like that at some point. We would just prefer to have to wait one more year for you to finish out your rookie deal, and then we promise you we're going to get you that new contract that you want. I mean, I get that may not be that may not have been the perfect ending. That may not have been enough for A.J. Brown. I get that. But it's obvious that they made him feel like he wasn't worth the new contract that he was asking. And I think the majority of people believe that AJ Brown is worth $20 million a year. I think almost everyone agrees. Even Titans fans probably agree. Now, of course, Tannehill can't be happy. I mean, you traded away his best weapon and you basically drafted his replacement who plays a lot like him, who looks a lot like him, but you don't know if he's going to pan out to be like him. So again, the Titans are taking a chance here. It happens every year, but AJ Brown was somebody they drafted, somebody that they should have, that wasn't even out of his rookie deal yet. And they traded him away for another rookie player that may or may not pan out. And now speaking of Tannehill, things have not seemed to have been getting better for him. He talked about with the media today about losing to the Bengals in the playoffs last year and how it put him in a dark state and everything else. And now I am not going to at all make light of that situation. I'm not going to stay here and say anything about Ryan Tannehill's mental state, where he was in that, because again, regardless of what you think, whether or not it's valid or not, I don't care. He definitely felt it, and otherwise he wouldn't have said it. And I understand, and everyone deals with heartache differently. Every single person does. So I'm not going to sit here and say that he should just suck it up, because that is not right for me to say. Now, on top of it, the team was performing bad. During that time and basically over the last 2 seasons, we've seen this continue to happen, specifically on the offense. And Tannehill had a lot to do with that. You look back at the Cincinnati game. The Bengals gave up 9 sacks. They gave up 9 sacks to that Tennessee defense. And you're telling me that offense could not win the game when you knew that team was the defense on the other side for you was just making it hell for Joe Burrow, and Tannehill couldn't do any better. Had a lot to do with it. Now you traded away his best weapon. You drafted his replacement. And by the way, Hassan Haskins, who they also drafted to take away some snaps from Derrick Henry. Now, again, that's what happens when you do with any running back. And Haskins is a very good running back, by the way. Probably one of the better running backs that we've seen out of Michigan. And, maybe this is a sign that, they're more concerned about the workload that Derrick Henry is dealing with than what was previously led on. Maybe the days of Derrick Henry getting 25, 30 rushing attempts every single game might potentially be a thing of the past now. Maybe it is, because telling you what, he had a season this last year where he was dealing with a lot of lingering injuries. He didn't look like the same running back even when he came back because of those injuries lingering. Do wonder if that had something to do with it. Then, on top of everything that you've done already, so you already have tensions with the fact that some of the players were not happy with AJ Brown gone. You obviously have seen Tannehill's upset, Vrabel's upset about it. And then on top of it all, you draft a QB, Malik Willis, one of the most talked about players throughout the whole draft process. You draft him in the 3rd round. You assume that at some point, Malik Willis could potentially replace Tannehill. You think at some point you could, because obviously the traits that Malik Willis possesses is insane. Now, while Tannehill did state at the media day today that he congratulated Willis after he was drafted, there may be more to this behind the messages than what some people realize, okay? Anyone can congratulate anyone on getting a job with their team and not be happy about it. Now, he was asked about mentoring Willis, okay? And Tannehill stated It's not my job to mentor him. Now, here's the thing. I've seen a lot of different reactions to this. Okay. And while most people are correct in saying he is right, it's not his job to mentor him. The fact he would say something out loud like this speaks a lot about who he is, about what kind of football player he is. Okay, now I'm not stating that he is a terrible person. That's far from the truth. I'm not stating that he is a terrible person for stating this because, again, it's a job thing. It's not a person thing. I'm sure that Ryan Tannehill is a great person behind the scenes. But you could question his leadership as a quarterback and as a teammate in certain ways by these comments. It's an unwritten rule in the game of football as a franchise quarterback, even while you're getting paid to be a franchise quarterback. You should be the mentor for everyone on your team, especially people in your quarterback room. Many of the greats of football, and Kurt Warner's been saying this too, many of the greats would never have given this a second thought unless that quarterback had an ego problem. And we know a couple of quarterbacks that had some ego problems. And we're talking about mentoring certain people. Okay. We know this. People ask about the Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre situation. Again, Brett Favre was an ego guy too. He didn't like having to be that guy. Okay. In that sort of way. Again, I'm not saying that, again, he's a bad teammate or that he's a terrible person. But again, how anyone can sit there and say, oh, yeah, he's correct in saying this. The fact that he even stated this out loud should make not only Malik Willis upset, but it should make all Tennessee Titans fans upset. It should make the Tennessee Titans fans upset. Maybe this explains why A.J. Brown was saying that Marcus Mariota, the quarterback beforehand, was the best leader he's ever been around. Maybe that says a little something to you. Again, whether you disagree or agree with his statement on this, it's the right thing to be a mentor for someone who's learning to do your job, regardless of how you're doing it. He didn't even really have to do much. Just be that good teammate. Be doing this. Show him the ropes. And if Tannehill wasn't worried about Willis taking his job, then who cares if you're mentoring someone? If you're not worried about losing your job, because I do a damn good job. I do a good job. I get paid $27 million a year to go be the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. I can do this. I took my team to the playoffs. I do my job. I do a great job at it. Then why do you care about mentoring someone? Because the whole point of mentoring someone is to show them how to do your job so that at some point they can take your job. At some point they might take your job. And again, if Willis, we all know, is a project. He's not going to be a quarterback for years. So why is he making such a big fuss about not mentoring someone that's below him? And again, it's the fact that he would even say it out loud is concerning. I mean, Tannehill may feel, with the team slipping up the last 2 years, in the playoffs specifically, mainly due to his lackluster performances in big-time games, could Tannehill feel threatened by this selection? I mean, that seems logical to me. I'm curious to know what a Tennessee Titans fan feels about it, because I think that's a bad look. Me personally, even if I felt that way, I would never have said that out loud to the national media to let them spin that off as a story of something that doesn't make sense. That's just my 2 cents, though. But again, guys, the Tennessee Titans, they traded away their best weapon. Their head coach in the front office is clearly not on the same page with a lot of things here. despite what they may be saying. Tannehill's not wanting to mentor the young QB that they just drafted for whatever reason that is. Seems like there's a lot of drama that's filling up over the Tennessee locker room over the last month. And it could be something that we need to look forward to and keeping a bigger eye out for going into off-season workouts and going into training camp. And I'll tell you what, the Colts are coming. You know, we talk about this every year, and obviously the Tennessee Titans over the last 3 seasons have been getting the better of the Colts when it comes to winning the division. But I can point to a lot of different things that state that the Tennessee Titans went backwards. I could say that the Colts have done a lot of things to go forward and are full steam ahead and are on the right track with where they need to be to win that division once and for all for the first time in a long time. But I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking of all this potential drama surrounding Ryan Tannehill and the rest of this Tennessee Titans organization. And Tennessee Titans fans, if you see this, I would love to hear your thoughts. I want to know if you think this is all a big pile of nothing, if there is something that's behind this, and you maybe hearing me explain it a little more maybe makes you think that there might be something more to it that you didn't think before. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, guys, go Colts.